Hello. Is this working? You can hear me and everything? Do I need to project? Okay, fine. I'm this guy. Follow me on X. Speaking of dystopias. And this is my masterclass. Actually, it's more of a disaster class because I haven't really prepared, and we're talking about dystopias. But no, I have prepared a little bit because I made a game, and it's been released, so that's the preparation there. It's called The Last Worker, and maybe some of you have played it and you haven't. What's wrong with you? And I was inspired a few years ago, like about 10 years ago, so I walked into my local sort of Sainsbury's or something, and overnight all of the employees had been essentially replaced by these wonderful sort of unknown item in the bagging area machines. And one of the remaining employees, well, there's only two. One was like standing in front of those, cigarette curtains, and the other one was by the machines waiting for them to like crash or whatever. So you would have to press the reset button. And I walked up to him and I said, like, this is weird. Like, you are assisting the robots. Shouldn't it be the other way around? And he went, yeah, I know, it's a bit weird, isn't it? And I saw that there were these sort of dystopian pop-up shops everywhere suddenly. Little by little, everything was getting automated. And it was interesting because in that shop, for instance, there was this lovely old lady who I'd see occasionally. She'd annoy the hell out of the employees, who now regret it probably because that's when they still had their jobs. But she would buy like one apple and just to have an opportunity to talk to another human being. And that was her social time, is to go into that local Sainsbury's with the apple and goes like, hello, how are you doing, dear? And they're like, all right, and she lost that. She lost that opportunity to actually relate to someone else. And so that really struck me. And then there was, this is what, supermarkets used to be like. And now they have these machines stacking shelves. It's fun. And there was a documentary on BBC Panorama called The Truth Behind the Click. And that was about someone had snuck into a sort of fulfillment center and here in the UK with the hidden camera. And they witnessed all of the madness that happens in these places. You sort of spend, as a picker, as they call people that picks products off and put them in the boxes so they arrive the next day via prime delivery or whatever. They have to walk an average of 10 or 12 miles a day on sort of concrete and metal with no natural light in order to bring that toothbrush to you the next day. And I thought, wow, that's a video game right there. Like, they actually have this little PDA in their hand that beeps down the seconds between each product, and if they fail to pick it, then it starts beeping real loud in order to alert all the people around them that they're messing up. And it's a video game. It's a very dystopian video game. And so, protests started gradually erupting, more and more, and not enough because, Amazon is still one of the most powerful corporations of all time. And the thing is, this automation has been happening all over the place, not just in retail, and not just in online retail. It's been happening in film. Look at all these branded universes that we're seeing. It's a form of automation. Actually, speaking of film, I was thinking about perhaps making a film about this subject matter. I'd made a film together with my wife, Alex, called The White King with Jonathan Pryce, a dystopian tale. Shot it in Hungary in 2015. It was a story set in the near future behind closed borders. And right as we landed in Hungary, that wonderful president of theirs announced that he was going to build borders in order to keep the Syrian refugees out of the country. And I was like, shit, here we are. We're about to make this film and we're living in it. And then our film got released, and then suddenly if you buy the film on Amazon, it's actually on Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free, essentially, it will probably end up in your My Stuff folder, which is a wonderful way to treat cinema. Thank you very much, Amazon, for respecting our craft. So yes, My Stuff, that's what we make. Your Martin Scorsese masterpiece is now categorized under stuff. Because everything has become content. There's this bucket of shit that we all have to fill with our content. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a film, a game, pictures of your kids or whatever. It's all content. It's all the same. As long as you feed the data giants, they'll be happy. And because, that's what content is, and that's what we're making. And so I felt that in a world where, ultimately games have become the leading cultural medium, I should tell that story as a game, even though I also make movies. I want to make a game because, the best way to empathize with someone else's suffering or their experience is to actually literally get inside their head, their body, etc. And the thing that's amazing about games is that you can't second screen them. You have to, if you don't play it, it stops. Whereas a film will keep playing while you ignore it. And that's, we're here in one of the holy places of cinema, and it's one of the sort of tragic struggles that we have at the moment. Unless you trap someone in the cinema like here, your film or your content is bound to be ignored. But yeah, games are everywhere. You can get them you can play Doom. I think it's quite funny how a website called Fatherly posted that. But anyway, I'm not entirely happy to be in this kind of reality. I'm not content. And there's no escape from it. And these tech giants are running everything. Like for instance, this guy here, he was a Nazi and then he became the head of NASA. That's the kind of reality we're. And now we have this new guy, Elon Musk, who's, who also likes to build rockets. And I'm not drawing any sort of comparisons whatsoever. I teamed up with this incredible artist called Mick McMahon, who is a co-creator. I don't know if you can see it well, but this was the first sketch based on this character that I wanted to tell the story about, Kurt, who is this man, the last worker in a sort of near-future fulfillment center the size of Manhattan. And so Mick is one of the creators of Judge Dredd. He's a man in his late 70s now. And clearly, as the video game industry is an industry of young people, I thought I should go to someone who is the opposite and bring his work to it. And he's one of the great masters in comics in general, but he's also worked in video games. And working with Mick on this game has been extraordinary. And yeah, he just brings just incredible life and character and very unique shapes to his work. And yeah, so Kurt is like moving around in this sort of dystopian mobility scooter in a way, picking these products off of this giant fulfillment center. And he's lost his love a few years ago. She decided that she wouldn't want to remain in this business. She was lucky to leave before she was fired, along with everyone else. And now the only things that are left around you, the only friends, so to speak, are robots. Yeah, so we worked on this art with Mick. I was dreaming of making this game while shooting this film in Hungary. So this dates back a few years now. And it all looked pretty cool. And then I was sort of left with that sort of horrible realization that I probably needed a team to do this because I don't know how to code or do anything for that matter. I'm just a guy with opinions who talks a lot. And so I eventually was very lucky to meet this great development team called Wolf and Wood, VR pioneers up in Newcastle. They've done incredible games like A Chair in a Room, Green Water, The Exorcist, Legion VR, a fantastic game. And actually also our second collaboration, which just came out, called C-Smash VRS, now available on PlayStation VR 2. And one thing that we realized very quickly is with Ryan, the creative director at Wolf and Wood, is that the idea of telling the story of a guy who's alone is great and is poignant and is powerful. But we sort of gradually, after spending quite a while sort of talking about it, we realized we needed him to have some sort of companion, something to talk to. And so, we came up with this broken robot voiced by Jason Isaacs called Skew. And he's wonderful and he has multiple personalities. You'll see, he's fun. Amazing cast. The one thing that we realized as well is when we're making a story about being replaced by robots, we had to make this game extra human. Every single texture in the game is hand painted. The music is performed by real instruments, so to speak. We have and we have an incredible cast. Jason Isaacs, Olafur Darri-Olesen, Claire Hope Ashity, Tommy Earl Jenkins, Zelda Williams, David Hewlett. And then this great score as well, with the greatest countertenor, actually, Jakub Józef-Orliński, performing Oliver Krause's music. So, I don't know, the one thing that I wanted to do with games is actually bring talent from outside of games into games, and that's something I love to do, because I guess I'm one of them. I've sort of infiltrated this industry arrogantly and decided to make them. And so working with people who've never made games before brings something, regardless of age, regardless of gender or whatever background or whatever, is incredibly stimulating. Here's just a little look at what Jakub, who usually is on the stage at the Metropolitan Opera House, etc., brought to my little indie game.
That is beautiful.
Well, that's Oliver Krauss over there. He usually writes songs with Adele and other people. He's lovely. And I thought I should show you, because we're talking about dystopian and world building, I thought I should show you just a very quick 2-minute opening title sequence in which we're telling the whole backstory of the world in just 2 minutes. And I hope you enjoy it. Yay! Thank you. This was animated by 3 guys in Belgrade, dear friends of mine, and all hand-painted. Again, we wanted to immediately sort of submerge the audience in something that feels human and like it was crafted by people who think and make you feel something. But then, of course, we went 3D with it because it's in VR, and like it would be a bit weird to just look at a flat thing. So here's just a quick little segment from it.
At Younger, we deliver the future. We do it right now.
Skew, do you mind keeping watch? I need a piss.
Yeah, sure. I'm on the lookout.
Yeah, just look away.
Sure, yeah. I'll watch.
I can't go if you're looking.
Coast is clear, mate. There's only me here.
Don't look. That's what I'm saying. Just look away.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You're staring right at my crotch. Skew,
What?
look away.
Oh, look away. Sorry. Bit mesmerized there. Well, it's interesting, you know. I haven't got one of them. They look very impractical.
No watching.
Who am I going to tell? Yeah? What do you want? I can do trickling stream. I can do waterfall. And I can do rain.
I'll hold it in.
Seeing. Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I realized, especially after The White King, is that, if I'm going to make a dystopia, I should at least try and make people laugh occasionally. Because because we're living in a real world dystopia, which is not particularly funny. We have sort of political leaders that are, should have been in comedies back in the day, but we're no longer laughing. And so comedy was one way to sort of alleviate this thing and lift it up a little bit. And it's now available in all retail, etc. It's on PlayStation and Switch and VR and Flat, etc. Wired Productions are the publisher, and they've released it. And it's been a pleasure that people have actually responded to it so positively. One thing I've realized, and perhaps we could talk about that later, is that, I personally don't want to engage with dystopian topics very much anymore because I genuinely feel that we're living in it, and I feel like I've now created 2 in a row. So I've now made a utopian game as well in parallel, actually C-Smash VRS, together with Wolf and Wood as well, because we needed this palate cleanser. We needed to lift ourselves out of this, otherwise we would have gone crazy. But people have really, really responded to it beautifully. And we've also made this spin-off of it to really show off the delight of play for the Playdate, which is this little device with the crank. I brought it with me if you guys want to play it later in the bar or something. But it's been really fun. So we try to infuse this dystopia with as much fun and delight as possible in order to actually not lose our minds, because it was all developed during the pandemic. Interestingly, The Escapist thought that this didn't like it, and they said that this was more art than game, and I'd like to personally apologize to them for attempting that. I'm so sorry. But we were the only game in competition at the Venice Film Festival in 2021, which in a way takes me back on this very interesting loop, because I was talking about how I decided not to make a film because films are not being paid attention to. But I realized that, and indeed, BAFTA is a significant, symbol of this. It's like games are a new evolution of art and storytelling. And for us to be sharing the same roofs, there should be sharing a lot of the same talent, for us to be like humans together and to create these stories, and sometimes tell stories to just bring fun, and sometimes to make people think is an absolute pleasure. So yeah, I look forward to the conversation ahead. Oh, and there's a film coming out next year called The Winter's Journey with Sony Pictures Classics that my wife Alex is directing and I'm producing with John Malkovich and other people. And here we're working quite a lot with PlayStation, and we've built and designed the sets for the film in Dreams on PlayStation, and it's been a really amazing way to build a world set in the past, but with modern technology, and with H-frame painted in the style of early 19th century romanticists. So, yeah, video games are great. That's it. Thank you.